Hello Year 5 and welcome to your next math lesson. So today we're going to be looking at multiplying two digits. Now that sounds like it's very easy, but this is going to be a slightly difficult lesson. So this math lesson has been split into two parts between today and for our next lesson. So we're going to be using area models to be able to help us. This is going to be recapping a little bit of knowledge from our measurement topic we looked at last week. So just to warm your brains up, I'd like you to pause the screen and see if you can have a go at working out these number sentences. Now this is going to be recapping the skills we learnt yesterday. So have a good read of the questions, notice any patterns that you can see and see if you can work out the answers. Okay, well the first one all we need to do is we need to add the numbers that are written up in front of us on the chart. Okay, so we know the answer is 6,396. Now, number 2, 2,123 multiplied by 4. Well, we know that's going to be the same as the first answer. Add an additional 2,123. So what we need to do is add those together and the answer is 8,492. Now, the last one is slightly different. So although we have increased it to 2,124, we're now only multiplying it by 3. So we need to add 3 ones onto each one of our numbers, because all we have done is we have made the original number 1 times bigger. So by making it 1 times bigger and having it 3 times, we've added just an additional 3. Therefore, 6,396, which was our original answer here when it was multiplied by 3, we just add the additional 3 and our answer is 6,372. So for today's lesson, we're going to consider using area models to support us with our writing. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult today because we're going to be doing lots of place value work and splitting up using multiplication grids. Now for some of you, this might not be a skill that you've used for at least a year, because this is something you're taught a lot further down the school, and by the time you get to year 5 and 6, a lot of you don't use it anymore. So do take your time when reading through and watching this video. You may need to go back and pause the video at certain points in time to help you with your task at the end of the lesson. So let's consider this rectangle here. We have a rectangle that is 12 centimetres long and 5 centimetres wide. So 12 multiplied by 5 is 60. Now I've written 60 centimetres squared, and you might be thinking, well, why has Miss Humphrey done that? Well, we know when we're looking at area, we are looking at area in terms of centimetres squared, okay? So rather than it just being 60 centimetres, because it's the area within this shape, we must include our centimetres squared. So let's consider it then using the squares to help us. So if we were to add the squares into there, we can see that we've got 5 lots of 12 squares, or 12 lots of 5 squares. Okay, now there's an easier way that we can do this. We could break this down into 2 parts. So we could partition our 12 centimetres into 10 and 2. 10 times 5 here, we'd colour all these in. This is going to give us 50. And then we have our 2 multiplied by 5, which is going to give us 10. Therefore, 10 times 5 and 2 times 5, if we add those two numbers together, 50 of 10 gives us the answer 60. So let's consider the same question, but let's show it using our base 10 equipment. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated today. So take your time and pause the video at any point in time if you get stuck. So let's partition 12, just like we did before, into 10 and into 2. So the first thing we need to do is multiply these together. So what would 10 lots of 5 be? Well, we know that 10 lots of 5 is going to give us 50. So we've got 5 lots of 10. Here we're going to multiply 2 by 5, so we know multiplying 2 by 5 also gives us 10. So the first thing we need to consider is, well, do we need to do any carrying? Okay, so we've got 10 ones altogether and 5 tens, and we can see that we had far too many ones in there, so we can exchange all 10 of those ones and replace them for another 10. Therefore, we now have 6 tens altogether, and we know that 6 tens is the same as 60. Let's consider it for this question with 13 multiplied by 4. So here again we've taken our 10 and we have partitioned it into 10 and into 3, and we have our 4 down the other side. So our first calculation we're going to do is going to be 10 multiplied by 4. So I need 10 lots of 4, or 4 lots of 10. Then we're going to multiply 4 by 3. We know that 4 multiplied by 3, or 3 multiplied by 4, is going to give us this answer. Now let's consider our sentences. We have 12 ones altogether and 4 tens. Now I already know that we're going to need to do some exchanging because we cannot have more than 9 ones in one box. So we're going to need to exchange 10 of those, and we can exchange them for a 10. So here we can see that we're now left with 2 ones, and now we have 5 lots of 10. So let's change our sentence. So there are 2 ones altogether and there are 5 tens altogether. So if we add those together, 50 add 2, the answer is 52. Let's consider it for this question as well. So we're going to partition this the other way. So rather than having our single digit down one side and our partitioned number at the top, we're going to swap it round. So let's have our 10 and our 3 down on this side, partitioning our 13 into 10 and 3. And we'll have our 4 across the top. So again, the same principle still applies. We're going to be multiplying 4 and 10 together. So 4 lots of 10. Okay, so we've got 4 lots of 10, which is 40. And then multiplying 4 by 3 is going to give us 12. Okay, we can exchange those 10s over because we already know that 12 is going to be too many and exchange them for the 10. So now looking at our numbers, we have 5 10s and 2 1s left over. Therefore, the answer is 52. So as you can see from this slide and the slide before, our answer is exactly the same. So it makes no difference whether you partition the top number across the top or down the side because the answer is still going to be the same because we are multiplying. So the answer is always going to get bigger. Pause the video and have a think. How would you work out this sum? Okay, so let's start with the first one. So here we had 20. Now, rather than having 20 in one box and 1 in the other, I can partition 20 even further and I can partition it into 2 lots of 10. So I have 10, 20 and 1, so 21 altogether. So same rule apply. Let's start from top. So we need 4 lots of 10. 4 lots of 10 gives us 40. We need another 4 lot of 10s, which gives us 40. And here we're multiplying 4 by 1, which gives us 4. Now I can see looking at my columns, I don't need to do any exchanges for this question. So we'll look at our 1s, we have 4 1s, and 10s, we have 8 altogether. Therefore, my answer is 84. Let's consider this question. 7 multiplied by 16. So again, we're going to partition our 16 into 10 and into 6 because we only have one value in our 10s column. So here we're going to do 7 lots of 10. Okay, 7 lots of 10 we know is 70. And here we're going to do 7 multiplied by 6. 7 multiplied by 6 gives us 42. Now I know from saying that out loud that 42 is far too big, so we can probably exchange quite a few of our 1s over. So we can exchange 10 of our 1s for 1 10. We can exchange another 10 for 1s for 10s. We can exchange another 10 1s for another 10. We can also exchange another group of 1s for a 10. So actually, all in all, we managed to exchange 40 groups of 1, and that equated to 4 lots of 10. So now let's have a look. We have 2 1s and we have 11 10s in our column. Now I know that that's too many, so what we can do is we can exchange 10 of those because 10 lots of 10 is worth 100. So if I now read this and look at this, I have 6 1s, I have 1 10 and I have 100. Okay, so 2 1s altogether, 1 10 and 100. So if we add those all together, we have 112. Now, this time it gets a little bit more complicated. So we have 14 multiplied by 21, okay? So here I have partitioned my 20 again into 2 lots of 10s and my 1s, but I only have my 4 down here, okay? So I then have to add the additional 10 because now I'm now multiplying 2 digits by 2 digits. So I've had to partition my 14 because on this one here, 4 wasn't going to be enough because I'm not multiplying by 4, I'm multiplying by 14. So we have to add our 4. So now we have extra grids on here. But the same rules apply. So we're going to focus on the top boxes first. So let's start the way we usually do. So here we need 10 lots of 10. Okay, so we know that 10 lots of 10 is 100. So that's 100 in there. We know we're going to need another 100 because we have another 10 times 10. And here in the final column, we have 10 lots of 1s, which is 10. Now we're going to move on to the bottom grid, and again we're going to do the same rules when we multiply each number. So here we need 4 lots of 10, so it's going to give us 40. We need another 4 lots of 10 to give us 40 as well. Then we have to do 4 multiplied by 1, and we have our 4 1s. Now looking at this, I know I don't need to do any exchanging because I don't have too many 1s or too many 10s. So all we need to do is we need to consider how many numbers we have. So we have 2 hundreds, okay, we have 9 10s, and we have 4 1s. So my answer is 294. Now let's consider this one. So this one looks a little bit more complicated. So I'd like to pause the video, have a look at the grid in front of you to see how it's partitioned out and see if you can have a go yourself. Okay, so we've taken the number 42 and we've partitioned that one along the top. Now we can partition that into 4 10s. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have our 2 1s. We also have to partition 32. Now we have 3 lots of 10s. We need 1, 2, 3, and again we need our 2 1s. We're going to do the same rule, and we're going to work out each row one at a time. So let's start from here. We're going to be doing 10 multiplied by 10. So 10 multiplied by 10 is 100. Now I'm going to need another 3 of those because I need 4 lots of those 100. Then I'm going to do my 10 multiplied by my 2, and that's going to give me 2 10s. So that's going to be the same for that row. Now if we notice, these numbers along the top and along the side are all multiplied by the same. So we know that this is going to be 4 lots of 100 and we're going to need 2 10s, and this is going to be 4 lots of 100 and 2 10s. So here we can already see that there was a pattern starting to form that we could repeat. However, this time round we're now multiplying 2 1s by our 10s and 2 1s by 2 1s. So here I need 2 lots of 10, and I need 2 lots of 10 3 more times because I'm multiplying by 10. And here I'm going to do 2 multiplied by 2, which is going to give us 4. Now I can already see that I have far too many place value grids on here, and I'm going to need to do some exchanging. So let's exchange some of our 10s. So we can exchange 10 of our 10s, and we need to exchange them for an additional 100. Now I don't need to exchange any of the 1s, and there's no more 10s for me to exchange. However, I now have 1300, so I have too many. So I know that I can exchange 10 of those hundreds and exchange them for 1000. So if I now consider what numbers I have left, I have 1000, I have 3 lots of 100, I have 4 lots of 10s, and I have 4 1s. Therefore my answer is 1344. Now, that was a little bit more complicated, considering that we don't physically have the resources in front of us to be able to help us. So I suggest, if you are stuck, to go back and watch the end part of that video again. But today you are only going to start the questions of 1 to 4 on your worksheet. We are going to complete the rest of that worksheet in our following lesson. However, there are 2 more tasks for you to have a go at. Now, usually I send home an emerging task and a greater depth task, but because we haven't quite got onto our problem solving yet, I have sent home a developing and emerging one. But rather than picking between the 2, I would like to have a go at doing both. I suggest you start with the developing questions first because they are slightly easier, and then move on to the emerging questions. When we come around to complete our next lesson, I will add some additional challenges for you as well as an extension tasks. So just have a go at questions 1 to 4 on your worksheet and have a go at the 2 further challenge questions. Good luck!